I don't know. Do you have any other idea?
Yeah, Christmas. So I really liked. Okay, this might be a hot take. So we're drinking hot cocoa in our new Catholic Cult swag. Mugs. There are three versions that I'm aware of. There are three versions of the Grinch movie.
Okay.
There's the original Grinch. Then there's the one that came, I want to say in the early 2000s with Jim Carrey. And there's one that just came out, the animated one, the computer-generated animated one with Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch. Came out just a couple years ago. Do you have a favorite Grinch movie?
Hotter take. I haven't watched any of them.
You haven't watched any Grinches? You haven't watched any of the Grinch Stole Christmas?
No.
Oh man, we should stop and watch that right now. Okay. So I've seen all three of them. I'm a big fan of the Grinch.
Do you have a hotter take than this?
Okay, so on the one hand, I think the correct answer is that the original is the best for lots of reasons. Okay. I'm not about to proceed into heresy and say that the original animated film was not the best. That said, the most recent one is really good, and I really liked it. And one of the things that they actually changed it a little bit, so I guess this is why, the first one's so good, any change from it is kind of difficult. But one of the things that I really, really liked in the new one is that the little girl, Cindy Lou Who, offers the Grinch forgiveness. So in the first one, are you familiar with the story, at least?
Not really.
Oh my goodness! Okay, so, wow, we gotta do this real fast rundown. If you have not seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas, you should go watch it. Any of them. In order. The first one, then the most recent, and then if you, then down, the Jim Carrey version. Nothing against Jim Carrey. So the Grinch is this grinchy, grumpy, terrible figure, and he hates joy. And he decides he's going to try to destroy Christmas, and he does that by stealing everyone's presents. But then on the morning of... Spoilers ahead. On the morning of Christmas, he goes to chuck all of their stuff over the mountain, but he hears them still singing and still welcoming Christmas and still being joyful, and he realizes that he can't destroy their Christmas because they do truly, despite the fact that they have a lot of stuff and they have put Christmas trees out and they have toys for days, the Christmas is really in their heart and he can't destroy it. And when he figures out he can't destroy Christmas, his heart grows 3 sizes, he has a conversion, and he goes down and re-delivers basically everything. Because he figures out that Christmas is a little bit more, as the story says. So really, no one confronts the Grinch except the Grinch's own conscience in this version of the story. He just hears them. He comes to the realization. He does it. In the newest one, after he tries to destroy Christmas, and comes very close to succeeding, Cindy Lou Who offers him forgiveness, and she goes and invites him down to Christmas. So he basically. In the first one, he has this conversion of heart. He feels good, and the good Grinch comes down. He kind of has a 2-stage conversion in the second one, where he feels so bad, he doesn't go through with his plan. But then he goes off sulkily, being I'm a terrible, awful person, and I deserve to be alone. And Cindy Lou Who comes up the mountain and invites him down. And he says, after everything I've done, why would you do this? And she says, no one deserves to be alone at Christmas.
It's a slow transition
to
all the movies.
Yeah, and the Cindy Lou Who in this one has a chance to love her enemy. This guy almost took this really important holiday from her, and she forgives him, and the forgiveness from her specifically affects him. So I actually thought that I like that change. The new Grinch movie, the ending. There's some weird stuff with the yak in the middle. I don't know. It's fine, I guess. But the ending is I like the change. And I actually think that more reflects what we are called to be. That when our enemies hurt us in painful ways, we still forgive them. And it's that forgiveness so often that is the transformation. He comes down off the mountain because she reaches out and she doesn't hold a grudge. And because no one deserves to be alone. Not even someone who just was trying to destroy Christmas.
Wow. Okay.
So, the new Grinch, I like it.
I'll try and give it a try.
Still, the classic's probably the best, but I like the new one too.
Okay, good.
I also really like Home Alone, but I can't back that up with any gospel message.
Yes,
it's
same.
probably.
Same.
I don't know.
I was
I'm looking
what
for
Christmas movie do I like? Home Alone. not Home Alone.
Yeah, I can't.
Like, yeah.
I mean, he learns about the love of family. He's basically a sociopath in the beginning of that movie, though. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't do that, kids. Okay? Don't.
And the middle of the movie, come to think of it, most of the movie,
Most-
and then again in the second movie.
Yeah, there's many movies. There's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I count that there's 2. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bunch.
There's 2 with this.
There's 2 with the original protagonist, Kevin McAllister, and then they made 3 with a new kid, and then 4 with a new kid. I think there's 4.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah,
Don't quote us,
yeah,
but
there might be.
go check.
I think there's one they made with a dog that's not actually the same franchise. I heard that there's a Dog Alone movie where the dog defends the house, but I don't think it's the same franchise. I don't think it's the same IP.
Okay. Interesting.
So,
It's not probably not a Christmas movie neither.
no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the most recent either. I've seen 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, Elf. But
Okay.
how do you back up Elf?
Yeah. All right. Well, if I wanted to say, all right, if I wanted to pull a gospel message out of Elf, I would say, well, I'd say 2 things. So one, I think, so Buddy is able to change everyone's life because he's so joyful.
Yes.
And I do think that, like, one of the things that we see throughout the biblical story is that, like, one virtuous person can change things, right? Like Noah is able to save the world from the flood because he alone is righteous, and Jesus saves the whole world because he alone is the perfect, just, righteous one. And there's lots of other biblical stories where one prophet, you know, he's left alone, he's the only one left, but he changes things because of it. So you see Buddy, like, even though everyone's trying to beat him down, he is sincerely joyful, he is sincerely earnest.
Yeah.
He does not return, he returns a curse with a blessing. So I think that, like, he has a lot of virtuous qualities, a little naive, but he does not. He does good to those who persecute him. He blesses those who curse him. And that sincere, continual earnestness, one person changes the whole story. So I'd say that. And then the second thing I guess I would say is maybe, like, sincere faith does change things. Sincere faith changes things. So, like, yeah, God doesn't become more powerful when we believe in him. But our faith, God might become more powerful in our hearts the more we believe in him. We do think prayer changes things. Like, it affects us more the more we believe in it. Like, sincere faith, hope, and love change us, and then that changes things. So yeah, like, it's not like Jesus can't change the water into wine if we don't all believe in Jesus, but a sincere faith affects your heart, and your heart then it changes the world around you. So I would say that a sincere faith affects things.
Exactly.
We could say that.
Like how because he had faith, he was able to persevere because he had this encounter with Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
So when we have an encounter, so like Buddy could be like the early Christians, or like the Christian nowadays that have really met Jesus personally in their lives, that are so joyful of having met Jesus, that they just want to share and just want other people to believe too. And people who haven't met Jesus are like, okay, so just yeah, it's like it's nonsense. Just yeah, like you said, a curse, and then, as a real Christian would do, return the blessing. You know, really, faith.
Yeah, and I guess if we wanted to add, I thought of one more as you were talking about, like, there is a little bit of that element of that, like, hurt people in the sense that, like, people who have been hurt others, and that one of the destructive things of sin is it has a ripple effect. So if you, like, the backstory of Buddy's dad, like, he's all cynical, but, like, he's been his heart broken a couple times, and so now he's just kind of the cynical person. And then the Rangers that are coming after him at the end of the movie, they've been on the naughty list, and for so long that now they just want to, like, hurt people, and they, like, have a vendetta against Santa Claus. So, like, when we sin against others, that breaks them, and that scandalizes them, it breaks them down. It takes a lot to turn that around. So I think the other characters in Buddy's life and in this story, a lot of them have been hurt, and so they're not necessarily, like, being mean to him out of, I don't know what we'd call malice, but they are broken. And so he looks on them not as wicked people that need to be punished, but broken people that need to be healed, or hurt people that need to be healed. And I think that's also a good, look at that.
Yep.
There's another one.
As Christian, we should always look out for those broken people and look at the brokenness inside of ourselves. Try to mend that with sacrament of reconciliation, sacrament of the Holy Eucharist, and try to repair what's broken in us to be able to share that love of Christ with other people who are like us, broken.
Yeah, and try to break the cycle. I think that's a huge one of the things you want to do. One of the reasons why those commandments exist is because, if someone hurts you and then you're hurt, so then you go hurt others. Like, there has to be a point. That's what Jesus was on the cross. Like, there's a point where you just have to absorb it and you break it. And so, like, so much hate was poured out on Jesus, but he didn't return it. And that's what saves everyone and everything. And so, like, in obviously cosmically smaller ways, we're supposed to, when sin is heaped upon us, we don't return it, we absorb it and we break it. And we break the cycle.
And I feel like it's like the snowball effect, right? Like the further the society, the just goes towards something like less maybe Christian, you could say. It just, like, sin is something that you just fall into, and then it gets easier and easier to like to fall down faster and faster and faster, and more people, and like pick up more and more people. So you, like, we talk about martyrdom, so you should check that episode too. But we all, I think, the way I see it, it's like a big snowball going downhill, and the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be to stop, and the more people it will require to stop it. So, like, Jesus took it all, but we need to be like Jesus and sacrifice ourselves, and at some point with other people. So this is why we need other people too. We need to be in, so this is why, like, the church too, it's like a big union of people that represent the body of Christ. Oh my god, analogy. Okay, so the body of Christ stopped this big snowball. We are in his church. We are living stones of his church, of his body, and we as Catholics are one body, trying to, like, together stop this big snowball and just turn this thing around. Try to mend and heal what is society.
Yeah. I am positive that the producers of Elf were thinking of all of that.
I'm sure of that.
No, but I mean, of course they weren't. But but this is the idea of, like, these messages are there's an innate understanding of some of these things, and you can find it in a lot of places. There is a lot of good in our culture if you go sifting and looking for it. So, all right.